Right. So I'd like you to join me in welcoming His Excellency, Ambassador David Hamadziripi, as he comes to deliver his keynote speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chimandamba, for for introducing me to this very beautiful-looking audience tonight. Mr. Taunkomo, the Brawlers Golf captain, thank you for welcoming us. Mr. Washington Mashanda, director of the Brawlers in Business, fellow compatriots, colleagues from the Zimbabwe Embassy and from the Consulate, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I have been given quite a tall order, and the papers I'm looking at here do not even attempt to scratch on the surface of what has been said. So I'll stick to what's been written here. Well, thank you very much for inviting us to this end-of-year function. Personally, I cannot but recall the memorable welcome that you laid out for my wife and I barely a month after our arrival in May this year. One could not ask for greater friendship and support than what you have showered on us since our arrival, and I'm looking forward to the same in the years to come. I'm touched not only by these personal relations, but even more by the love you have for Zimbabwe, our shared motherland. Such is your love for her that even on an occasion such as this one, you meet under the banner of a very serious subject to do with Zimbabwe's development. Let me say, the government of Zimbabwe recognizes the important contributions that the diaspora is making in the country and the great potential that you, the diaspora, possess in the revival of the economy of our country. The diaspora contributions to the revival of the economy can take many forms, including investments, skills development, technology transfer, expertise and experiences that have been gathered over the years. You can also bring your strategic networks into government's engagement and re-engagement with the wider international community. There are doors that the government cannot open, but there are doors that among you, some of you, can open and open very easily. Our country's economy is entering a stage where it is transitioning from a highly regulated economy to a market-led economy driven by the private sector. It is our national vision that Zimbabwe will be or should be an upper middle income country by 2030. To this end, the government has unveiled the Transitional Stabilization Program covering the period October 2018 to December 2019, which will be succeeded by subsequent 5-year development plans commencing in 2020. Under this program, fiscal, monetary, institutional governance, and other reforms will be undertaken to improve, among others, the ease of doing business, the restructuring of the economy, domestic production improved, and the expansion and modernization of infrastructure. Ladies and gentlemen, what lies ahead of us in Zimbabwe is not a walk in the park. Let's be very open. Rather, as the Minister of Finance and Economic Development so aptly titled the 2019 budget, it is going to be a time of belt tightening, a time of austerity with anticipation of prosperity and eating well later. It is a time that will call for patience and perseverance because the green shoots of revival will necessarily take time to become evident. It is easy to destroy, but it takes time to build. And we need to build. It is a time to build and to rebuild in Zimbabwe. The success of the Transitional Stabilization Program demands everyone's participation and commitment. This includes you as well. We need to be optimistic about the future prospects of our country. Given what has happened in the past 18 years or so, it is tempting to be cynical and skeptical. We cannot win with a defeatist attitude. Fellow compatriots, what beckons in Zimbabwe should encourage rather than discourage you, because it is part of the process of redirecting our economy towards the path of growth. Currently, the talk on what is going on in our country is about the return of fuel queues, the shortage of some commodities, the high costs of goods, the shortage of forex and money in general. The list goes on. What is not said, though, are the groundbreaking events of various investment projects. What is not said, though, is the resilient determination of many individuals and communities to see and grasp the opportunity in the new environment and to make our country work again. The pain, much as we don't like it, is an unavoidable experience in the birthing of the desired new transformed economy that we are working towards. The 2019 budget that was presented last week contains many investment opportunities. The decision by government to embark on a parastatal reform program, which includes the privatization of state-owned enterprises, is one such opportunity. This week, the Minister of Industry and Commerce announced plans to reform 43 public enterprises, beginning with Zisco and Chemplex Corporation. I urge you to take a keen interest in this program and partake of the opportunity to invest in these key enterprises through joint ventures and other partnership arrangements. Huge investment opportunities also exist in special economic zones. To date, 13 special economic zones have been designated. As you may be aware, these are zones in which investors enjoy numerous incentives and benefits such as tax rebates and duty exemptions. While they may have been set up with an eye towards attracting foreign direct investment, they are not exclusively reserved for foreigners. Zimbabweans must be in the forefront of investing in Zimbabwe. When we take the lead, others, non-Zimbabweans, will follow. My fellow countrymen, our government seeks to transform the national economy through industrialization, largely based on value addition and beneficiation of minerals and agricultural produce. This will enable the country to export finished products that boost export earnings. The industrialization agenda is a critical part in our future economy as we move from the core periphery economic relationship established during colonialism. The industrialization program provides an opportunity for the diaspora to participate in the economy through financial, skills, and technology transfer. Ladies and gentlemen, in any transition, there are winners and losers. I hope that most, if not all of us here, will emerge winners in the process underway in our country. It is important, even essential, that we remember and pay attention to the most vulnerable members of our society who are likely to end up worse off from this economic transformation. This means that we must support social programs in health, agriculture, education, etc., in order to reduce social inequalities and conflicts in our country. Stability is a sine qua non for the success of the reforms we have embarked on. I am confident that you will contribute to this equally essential component of the development of our country. I wish to acknowledge the sterling work that you are doing in the face of many obstacles and impediments that you meet back home. We are aware of them, and that is why we want to interact with you. That is why we want to maintain an open door policy towards you, so that if you have any challenges that you face, we may see how best we may be able to intervene. But it also helps us to better appreciate the environment that you are living in. It helps us to better appreciate also the developments in this country, because one of the major mandates that we have here, apart of course attending to your welfare, is to also improve the relations between Zimbabwe and South Africa. I want to urge you, in spite of all the impediments and all the constraints that you are going to face or you may be facing in your efforts to contribute back home, I want to urge you to stay the course, and you can count on our support to ensure the success of your endeavors. As you are my co-ambassadors, I really appreciate your contributions as critical propagators of the Zimbabwe is open for business mantra. I'm even informed that the slogan has now been elongated. It now is Zimbabwe is open for business and dialogue, because we are a listening government. We want to listen to what the people of Zimbabwe are saying, whether they are in or outside of the country. We want to listen to what others are saying, because in dialogue we can move together in relevance and in harmony. The work that you do is driven by the love that you have for our shared country, and it has made the partnership between ourselves and yourselves special and strong. For those who belong to DIDG, I am happy to acknowledge that you are the embassy's flagship investment pioneers. Everyone here recalls how the DIDG was formed and is aware of the mountains you have had to climb, and you still have to climb, in responding to the appeals for the recapitalization of the National Railways of Zimbabwe. We hope that the issues that are stalling progress on this project of national importance will be resolved without further delays. The National Railways of Zimbabwe is a critical component of the transport infrastructure, itself an absolute essential enabler of sustainable economic development. As I conclude, let me just say, what you have started as Brawlers, and I was saying to Mr. Chimandamba here the other day, I said to him, no, you must change this name. I was assured that there is no fighting. But yeah, Brawlers, well, I encourage you to reconsider the name. But seriously, what you have started as Brawlers is what we are encouraging, and what should be encouraged and emulated. We must, as Zimbabweans, eschew the spirit of individualism and embrace that of communalism, of creating networks and of working together. The task before us in Zimbabwe requires togetherness. None of us alone, or even in small exclusive groups, can make the required impact. I want to thank you.